priests shave their whole bodies every other day. That
BBC Two now remembers a dear friend. From Gardener's World, a tribute to Geoff Hamilton.
Well, there really is a feeling of spring in the air right now, and of course that's a time when we gardeners are entitled to get excited. I love to walk around the garden at this time of the year just looking at the buds breaking. Some of them are the silkiest, shiniest bronze, and others the freshest green imaginable, and all of them packed with the energy and the enthusiasm of youth. Marvellous.
That short extract from Gardener's World a couple of years ago seems to me to say an awful lot about Geoff Hamilton, his passion for plants, his optimism and his sheer love of life. This programme is a tribute to Geoff, not a solemn memorial, but a celebration of his life and work. Lots of his friends will be chipping in with their particular memories of his enthusiasms and eccentricities, but one thing seems to come out from all of them. And that was that Geoff wanted to make gardening seem achievable. Even if you didn't know much about it, you could do it, provided you followed his instructions. It was a characteristic that was already well developed about 12 years ago, when he first began gardening at Barnsdale in a sea of mud.
Now, this is the site, and it's very much like many a typical building plot I know. It's heavy, sticky mud at the moment, and it's liberally garnished with more than its fair share of builder's rubble. Well, we'll be starting on this in 3 weeks' time, and I'm going to stick my neck out and guarantee that if you follow us through programme by programme, by the end of the season you too will have a beautiful garden.
Geoff would really have enjoyed the Cederberg Mountains in South Africa, especially the plants like these casmanthus. He was always interested in me telling him about the places I'd been to on my travels in the wild, especially the plants. And I can hear him saying now, OK, you've told me its name, where it comes from. Now, can I grow it? And how do I grow it? Step by step, please. Practical. He was the hands-on man. He was the best how-to-do-it gardener I've ever known.
These are Iceland poppies, Papava nudicaulis, and I don't think I've ever seen such large blooms and such good colours. Now they're very easy to grow. You can actually sow them outside in the open ground in about March because they're just hardy annuals. Or what I do is to raise mine in these modules sown in the autumn and overwinter them in cold frames so that I get a good head start on the year. Now this is a strain called Constance Finis, and I must say that I haven't been able to find it in any of the seed catalogues at all, but I have dug out one nursery that sells plants, and that's in the Plant Finder published by the Hardy Plant Society. And the great thing is that once you've bought one of these plants, you never need to buy another because they seed very easily. If you just look at the seed pods and keep an eye on them once they've finished blooming, and as soon as they start going brown and perhaps the first one pops, then make sure that you collect them when they're ripe, store them in a dry place and then sow them for the following year. They really are quite easy.
I think one of the things I most admired about Geoff was his sheer capacity for work, but it didn't seem like hard work to him. He would just sort of sail through it. I mean, I'm younger than him, but my goodness, he seemed to have twice my energy, and he'd be doing a lot of his own gardening. I mean, people would say to me, surely he doesn't do all that on his own. Well, no, he didn't do all of it on his own, but he would do a lot of it, a surprising amount of it. And all those new ideas and schemes that he'd dream up over the winter to start again in the spring, a lot of that would be his own work.
Now the slabs are laid on a mortar, and the mortar consists of 3 parts of builder's sand to 1 part of cement, and you put it out in 5 heaps, 1 in each corner and 1 in the middle, and then you lay the slab gently on top and tap it down with the handle of a club hammer. And while you're doing it, you check all the time with your straight edge to make sure that it's level not only with the other slabs but also with your pegs. That's perfect.
Geoff had a very special relationship with the camera. It was one-to-one, and it was a real rapport, very, very professional. He used the camera as his route to the viewer, and he cared about the viewer. He really cared about Gardener's World. And in a long-running programme like this, you get lots of new young presenters who come in and out, new young producers, directors, and they all come in and they all think they have to change it in some way, or that, you know, it's awfully boring just to have gardening and it needs to be pepped up in some way. And Geoff knew what viewers wanted. He really believed they wanted straight, down-to-earth practicalities.
Flea beetles are so called because when you approach them, they tend to jump up into the air. So I use that habit for a real organic control. I take a piece of board and I put some grease on it and then just run it over the top of the wallflowers like that. The flea beetles jump up, they stick to the grease, and I get perfect control with no chemicals at all. And there you are, that's not bad for 30 seconds work.
Some of the things I liked most about Geoff were his economy and imagination. The way he made ponds out of old dustbins, he made cloches out of cardboard boxes, and rocks out of waste materials. There are many people who can't afford to spend a lot in their garden, and Geoff never forgot them.
But now, there's no doubt that the most welcome vegetables and those that will save you the most amount of money are the early crops. So now's the time to set out some cloches on your land to warm it up and get a really early start. Now I've made a couple especially to fit these beds, and they really are quite cheap and very easy to do. They consist of 4 bits of 50 by 50 mil, that's 2 by 2 timber, joined at the corners with angle brackets. It's very simple. Then you drill the ends for some 1/2-inch dowels, which are 6 inches long, and then you can put onto those some bits of alkathene water pipe. You can buy this at the builders' merchants. These are 6 foot long and simply slip over the top like that to form a hoop. And then get some bits of dowel, drill the ends of them and push those in there like that so you can easily cover with polythene. Cover that with clear polythene and just hold it down at the edges with a bit of lath at the bottom here. And when you want to work on it, you use a bit of real state-of-the-art technology. This is a stick with a notch in either end, and it works perfectly. So if you want to get really early crops, make one of these this weekend, but before you do, cover up your bit of land with some clear polythene. That'll keep it dry and start the warming process. And I can guarantee you the best quality, tastiest and earliest vegetables you've ever had.
There's one thing that I always remember, and that's the cardboard box lined with tin foil. He wheeled it out every year, perhaps sometimes more than once a year. And with most people you'd say it was sort of with monotonous regularity. But with him it wasn't. It was with a sort of new enthusiasm every time. And basically you get your cardboard box from the supermarket, you cut the front off it, you line it with tin foil, and lo and behold you've got the sort of box you can
raise seedlings and young plants in on your windowsill to stop them getting leggy. It was terribly simple, terribly easy, and something anyone could do, and that summed up his whole approach to getting people interested in gardening.
What you can do is to build your own portable cold frame. Now all this is a strong cardboard box which is painted gloss white inside and out and covered with a bit of rigid plastic.